Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining in. Today we have once again have with us a very learned speaker, Tehmeena Shahryar. Tehmeena has, been a part of the unmoderated sessions on Friday and Saturday. Has many observations. Has picked up on a few good business ideas that were discussed as well. But today she's formally leading the session on startup ecosystem, how to come up with a business plan, how to conceptualize business ideas, do's and don'ts, some very, very important instructions. And I think from this point till the end of this week, Tehmina is going to lead you to to a stage where we will hopefully have a plan in place for each and every participant. So, without any further ado, we have already spent about 5 minutes in setting up the webinar for that. So, without any further ado, let me hand over to Tehmina.
Thank you, Arun. So, hello everyone, and it's very nice to be here with you once again. We will be discussing today, starting with the startup ecosystem. I hope so you have some kind of idea about what is a startup ecosystem. So, the participants who have joined in can please type their answers. What is a startup ecosystem? What do you mean by startup ecosystem? You can type your answers, or you can raise your hands if anybody wants to speak. What is a startup ecosystem? What do you get the idea from this term? This session is going to be quite interactive. If we have feedback from you guys, so please make sure you are typing in your answers and interacting with me and the other audience. So let's see if anybody knows anything about startup ecosystem. So Sayyida Asif says, sorry, not that familiar. Yeah, and I had that idea. Economical startup. Okay. Environment affecting the starting of new business. Yes, definitely. So not familiar. Yeah, that's what I am going to be focusing on first of all, because we are talking about startups here. So the first thing we should know about is what is a startup ecosystem. What do we mean from that? So a startup ecosystem is formed by people, startups in their various stages, and various types of organizations in a location interacting as a system to create new startup companies. So let's see what makes an ecosystem. I'll come back to the definition once again. Let's see what makes an ecosystem. Can we move to the slide number 2, Feroz? So let's see what makes an ecosystem. Well, think of a startup ecosystem as a machinery. It will make the understanding easier for you. Take it as a machinery that produces valuable companies. Yeah, the difference is this machinery is going to be producing valuable companies. Basically, it takes inputs in the forms of ideas and founders, and it churns out valuable companies. So, this is how an ecosystem is formed. An ecosystem consists of ideas and founders as inputs. These are processed to churn out valuable companies, which are the outputs. So, this is how an ecosystem works. A typical story I would like to mention here could be that an entrepreneur forms a startup and formally joins the ecosystem. They recruit talent, build a prototype, prove their concept, raise seed funding, perfect their product, reach product market fit, raise further rounds of funding, scale their operations until further down the line where they perform some sort of an exit in the form of IPO or acquisition. So, exit is the main goal here. Exit is when an ecosystem is successfully producing a valuable output. So, obviously, in any typical ecosystem, there would be more inputs, more ideas, more resources being given to the system. But this is okay. because startup failure is an integral part of an ecosystem. Yeah, we all know, whenever you plan for a new startup, you should keep that in mind, that not all ecosystems will be producing successful businesses. Most of the businesses that come into the ecosystem will fail. And why is that so? Well, the startup system can, of course, support you with capital from investors and other entities providing funding if you're able to create something. Well, keep this in mind, that it is attractive for them. If you have a strong startup ecosystem, it means you will have funding available for you. It will mean that you will be supported in the form of different key partners. So, we would argue that even more valuable is knowledge and experience the ecosystem entities can provide an entrepreneur. If you have a strong ecosystem, startup ecosystem, then it will mean that you are getting knowledge and experience to come up with new business ideas and come up successfully or make the exit. Startup ecosystems are popping up all across the country and the world. Well, with the varying levels of success, we can say, I wanted to talk about the mix of ingredients that are needed to make a startup ecosystem thrive over time. So, what are those mix of ingredients? As you can see in the diagram here, the most important ingredients can be access to great ideas. Yes, definitely. Great ideas turn into great businesses. So, first of all, the most important ingredients that should be used as input for the ecosystem are the great ideas. Then, the second thing is access to talent. Great entrepreneurs, preferably serial entrepreneurs that have learned from prior mistakes, are ultimately going to dictate the success of their business and, in turn, the success of the ecosystem. So let's stop here and let me ask you one question here. Do you think you have access to great ideas in whichever country you are right now? Do you have access to great ideas? Simply type a yes or no. So let's see if you have that most important ingredient present in your startup ecosystem right now. So, do you have access to great ideas? No, yes, 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 no, no, to some extent, yes. Yes, depends upon self creativity. No. Yeah, no. We see a balance of yes and no. Partly. Muhammad Hamza says yes. Okay. We see a balance here. There are equal yes and similar no. So let's see, access to great ideas form a strong ecosystem, and access to talent. As I mentioned earlier, great entrepreneurs, preferably serial entrepreneurs that have learned from prior mistakes. They keep on experimenting, they keep on building up new ideas, and those are that they give input to the success of the ecosystem. So what do you think? Do you have access to talent? Does the country in which you are residing right now have access to talent? Somewhat. We will consider somewhat as more inclined to yes. Yes, yes, to some extent, yes. Now, there we go. We can see more yes towards access to talent. Yes, but it's mostly overlooked. Right. Yes, yes. That's nice. So it gives an idea about what you think about your startup ecosystem, and it matters a lot. So the third thing that can be considered as the most important ingredient is the access to capital. The best ideas and the best talent are useless without the capital to fund their vision. And we all agree on it, right? Most of us do dream about becoming an entrepreneur, but what makes us stop that idea right there is we think that we don't have access to the capital. So, what makes a strong startup ecosystem is the access to capital. So, let's see what you have to say about that. Do you have access to capital for your best idea and for your best talent? No, no. No, no. I don't see a single yes here. Okay, one yes. No, that is why we do jobs. So there is the problem right there. We think we don't have access to capital. Well, we will be covering that part as well. Why do you think you don't have access to capital and how you can get access to capital? So the next thing we must know is the most important ingredient is the access to customers. Well, to me, this is the most important piece. Yes, customers drive revenues. Revenues impress investors. Investors fund growth. Growth leads to big exits, and big exits leads to a robust ecosystem. So now focus all your attention on access to customers. Do you have access to customers? Do you have access to customers? Do you think in the country which you are residing currently, you have access to customers? And there will be your answer. We can achieve that. Yes, 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 yes. We can access the customers. Yes. Babar Azam says yes. Zohra, yes. Osama, definitely yes. Lubna, yes. So that's where we can see the positivity. Yes, yes. So all of us consider this that we have access to customers. Now focus on this point. If you have access to customers, well, let me repeat this. Customers drive revenues, and revenues impress investors, and then investors fund growth. So it's all connected. You can have access to capital if you have a great idea. You can have access to talent if you are capable of converting that idea to generate revenue by providing that idea to the customers. So we can say that the most important thing in the startup ecosystem is your input. And the most important input that you can bring into the ecosystem is your idea. If you have a great idea, you can get the funding, you can get the access to the talent, and you can get access to the customers. We all have access to customers. We are all customers, and there are customers everywhere around us. Wherever you look, you can find a customer. So what you need to focus here is a startup ecosystem is based on a strong idea, and that is your first input that you give to a startup ecosystem. So what, how to come up with business ideas, how to come up with great ideas. So that is going to be our next discussion point, that what is a strong business idea. Because most of the times we come up with new business ideas, but most of the times what we do is we just ignore that business idea because we think that is not a great idea. But you don't need a very big idea to make it come true. You just need a business idea that have the potential to access the talent, to access to customers, and that will automatically give you the access to capital. So let's discuss how to come up with business ideas. Uh, can everyone else hear me? Please type a yes or no. Saida Asif says she can't hear me. Okay, now you can. Okay. So what was the last thing you heard? What was the last thing you heard? Yes, it's going to be again a test. If you were listening, a great idea, right? Gulam Fareed's strong business idea. Yes. So we will be discussing strong business ideas, how to come up with strong business ideas, what we need to come up with a strong business idea. And my question from you are is that, tell me, what is the method you use to come up with a strong business idea? What are the resources? What are the methods? It should be a sentence. What is the method or what is the resource that you use to come up with a business idea? If I ask you come up with a business idea, what will you do? Will you think? Will you consult? Whatever. Brainstorming, right? Research. Mubashir says research. I just use my own mind. Huma says I just use my own mind. Uzair says brainstorming and research. Kashif says market research, discussion with people. Nice. Muhammad Suleiman says it will look around for issue. I will look around for issues, right? Investigation, research, think, market research. Yeah, so those are some of the tools that you have pointed out, and those are the right tools. Yes, that's the basic work we do to come up with business ideas. So for some people, coming up with the idea is easy. Well, for others, it's nearly impossible. Yeah, is anyone in the audience who thinks coming up with a business idea is quite a difficult task? And I have been searching for, looking for a business idea, and I have been failing at it. Anyone in the audience who thinks coming up with a business idea is the most difficult task, nearly impossible? Yes. So we have one participant saying yes. Anyone else who thinks coming up with business idea is difficult? Yes, the most important and difficult. Rashid says, okay, yes, it is difficult. Coming up with right business idea is really challenging. Yes, difficult, but not Saida Asif says, but not impossible, right? Yes, true. It's not an impossible task, but definitely for some it can be difficult. I fully believe that anyone who puts in enough practice and who makes a conscious effort to notice problems, yes, someone who is noticing problems and identify needs can improve their ability to come up with new ideas. Steve Johnson, the author of Where Good Ideas Come From. Yeah, I would like to recommend that for you to read. Steve Johnson is the author of Where Good Ideas Come From, has spent years researching and writing about this subject. He says all those points that already many of the participants have pointed out, that all you need to do is you explore and experiment in different areas. You allow your idea to develop slowly over time. Give your ideas some time. You are exploring and open to the idea of connections. You make mistakes. Yes, the most important element in coming up with the great ideas is you make mistakes. You look for new uses for old inventions. You build on platforms that have come before. Well, anyway, let's see what a business idea should be capable of doing to become a great idea. What is a great idea? There are lots of ways, there are lots of resources that we can use to come up with an idea. What makes an idea a great idea? That's what we are going to talk about now. Well, first of all, a business idea that solves a problem. Think from this perspective. The easiest way to come up with business ideas is to solve the problems you have. Yes, look in your life. What are the problems you are facing? What can be the solution to those problems? Well, the solution to your problem is your business idea. So it's not that difficult. Just try to look into your life. What are the problems you are facing and how you can resolve them? And that's number one business idea. The second easiest is to solve problems that other people are having. Just look around you and see what are the problems that people are facing and are dying to resolve. So that can be a big idea for you. These don't have to be big solutions like Google search or Amazon. Yes, that could be much smaller. A simple example can be noise cancelling headphones, a blessing, I must say, and we are all using them now. So that was a solution to a problem. So, a business idea that solves problems, focus on that. Come up with an idea that is going to solve your problem or a problem of anyone around you. All you have to do is get good at identifying problems. Once you have realized that each of your own frustrations is actual idea in the making, you're actually going to start having fun. So you can have dozens and dozens of ideas. And let me point out one more thing here. Don't fall in love with your ideas. Yes, now that's game over when you fall in love with one of your ideas, because you want that idea so badly to come true that you forget all the other things about that. So make sure you don't fall in love with one of your ideas. You just come up with a large number of ideas and see how they are going to solve your problems or of the people around you. And then you can go on to testing that idea. But we are discussing right now the first part, and that is how to come up with a great idea. So let's see. Solve things. Second thing a great idea can do is solve things that may become problems. Yes. Think of how things can become a problem in the future. Yeah, focus on the future. Solving problems that you currently have is not only the way to come up with new ideas. Yeah, this is not the only way. Why not think of solving problems that will exist but not yet? They will exist in the future. In this very futuristic sense, no one stands out quite so well here as Elon Musk. Yeah, I'm quoting him. The ventures he undertakes, including Solar City and Tesla Motors, but lack of fossil fuels will become a problem in the near future, not yet. And Elon is taking steps to fix that before it happens. This gives him the time to innovate as he's first in, and it gives him market share. Well, we can say good luck to others catching up, but he's the one considering solving things that may become problems. So that is also a point that can give you that can help you come up with a great idea. Another thing that you can be focusing on is adapting to evolving needs. You need to make sure that your idea is going to be helping you adapt to the evolving needs of the different uh, coming in the centuries. The easiest product to market are also products that fulfill a real or contemporary need. Keep that in mind. Well, an example of a service we can say is that we see all around us everywhere is cloud storage. Well, you don't hear as much as these days about the CD or SD card market. You can still get them, but it's increasingly easy to store everything online now. So we can say that the cloud storage idea was based on the evolving need. Well, I have heard about Nike launching in the middle of the pandemic the hands free shoes. So, considering the global pandemic, we can say the hands free shoes is the evolving need. So, another big idea can consider the evolving needs. Let's move on to how you can come up with another idea. Make people's lives easier. Yeah, consider an idea that can help make people lives easier. There are lots of ideas roaming around this. Consider, for example, grocery apps, food delivery apps, products like instant coffee, automatic washing machines, and the list goes on. So all these things are making people lives easier. And one more thing you can do is another point that you can focus on is save people money. Yes, we all want to save money. So, and any idea that focuses on people being able to save money is going to be a great idea. Let's consider an example. Even though I love real life bookstores and I believe in supporting them from vanishing as a consequence of sites like Amazon, but still I prefer to buy my books on Amazon because it saves me a lot of money. So everyone likes an idea that is going to help them save money. So I hope you have developed a basic understanding about business idea conceptualization. And the next thing we are going to do here is I'm going to give you a task here. Right now, your job is to tackle what I call application assignment. So your assignment is to identify your challenge. Yeah, what is our challenge? Meaning, what challenge or problem do you want to address, and then give a preliminary idea. So it's a two-step assignment that you're going to do right now. You're going to identify your challenge, that what is the problem you're facing. You can pick any one of these 5 points I have mentioned right now, and then you're going to give a preliminary idea. Anyone who has previously worked on a business plan can put forward his or her ideas here as well. but this is the task that you are going to do right now. So start, your time starts now, and you have approximately 6 minutes for that. If anyone needs any more information about the task, you can ask in the question box. And I would like to call onto the names and ask, especially those participants who haven't answered anything or in the question box. So let's start with the assignment. Identify your challenge and what is your preliminary idea to solve that. Your challenge should be a question, and your preliminary idea should be the solution. So you're coming up with a challenge that is a question, and the idea is to resolve it. And you have 6 minutes for that. If you want any further information on this, or you're having any problem coming up with the challenge, you can type your question in the question box. Yeah, the 5 points means the challenge can be related to solving your own problems or adapting to evolving needs, making people's lives easier, saving people money. I hope, Murtaza, I have answered your question. You can identify your challenge from any of these points. I'm, yeah, thank you, Murtaza. So let's do the task now. Adil has mentioned advertise more specifically, but need more capital to convert, invent. Mhm. But to convert capital to convert inventory into sales. Okay. So the first part will be considered as your challenge, and the second part will be considered as your preliminary idea. Challenge is going to be a problem you are facing or anyone is facing. So make sure your answer specifies it. The problem is specified in your answer. I'm reading the question of Sayyida Asif here. I have a question though. With increase of digitization in order to achieve reduced cost, time effectiveness, reduced human intervention, etc., it is leading to increased unemployment. Okay, that's one way of thinking. How do you think we can come up with a business idea, especially for a developing country where half of the population may be uneducated or have less technical know how, that does not lead to such a problem? Okay, first of all, I would say that that is your challenge. Why not word it in a challenge question? Then you can come up with a solution. That can be your preliminary idea. So, what if I ask you, Said Asif, if I ask you that the challenge is that you what you need is something, some idea that can help the developing countries to educate their population about entrepreneurship. So what could be the solution, Saidas, if you can think about that? So the more specific the problem is, the more easy it will be for you to come up with a solution. Okay. Ghulam Fareed, yes, that's a specific problem with a specific solution. Problem. Someone needs blood in case of emergency, then they start searching donor. In many cases, it is becoming difficult to find. Yes, no, that's a specific problem, a very common problem that you can see around. Solution. That's your preliminary idea. Want to develop tech-led solution where data would be to develop for donor, and in case anyone need, just go to app and make request and a message would go to the donors to donate. Yes, wonderful work, Kulam. Anyone else? Junaid Iqbal. Challenge in developing countries can be a lack of demand. Again, I'm going to point out that I have said the assignment relates to two parts. The first part is point out the challenge, the problem, and the second part is come up with the preliminary idea. So I don't find the challenge being structured properly in your answers right now. Uzair says freelancing services with less technical know-how. Okay, that's your problem, and your solution is to provide the best educational services, which requires quality resources and capital. Um, Again, it's very broad. You need to narrow it down. From where I can get finance for opening store on Amazon. I can sell stalls for expos on commission and can generate money instantly. That's a challenge, and that's your solution. Your preliminary business idea should be actually your business idea. So Lubna, that's a solution to a problem, but not a business idea. Great work, everyone. Mohammed Suleiman. To figure out my life and how to love myself is my challenge right now. I'm going to introspect and get to know more about myself, though I'm good at analyzing and critically evaluating situations and things. But I'm grappling with the why for myself, even though I know what I have certain options which will vanish in a few years. So you can be working that for yourself. Challenge is how to correct unruly behavior of drivers on road. Okay. Preliminary idea development of system which would guide the driver but can also be used to fine them if they don't follow traffic rules. Nice. Okay, let me give one more incentive here for you all. uh, you should all be coming up with the business ideas, because you will be submitting your business ideas for develop for converting them into business plan. So let me point out one more thing, that we need 16 business plans. Yes, 16. So out of all of you that are submitting your business ideas, we will select 16 business ideas with relevant business plans. And then we will be providing them with an opportunity to present their story in front of the investors. And are also going to choose a few from them that are going to form a part of our project, which will be we will be helping them to undergo their whole projects with us, and we are going to lead them to find capital and other such issues to resolve with them. And you will be having a lot of more sessions with the prospective investors, and these opportunities will be available for only those 16 uh, participants who will be selected for further initiatives. So let me point out to you that whatever you are doing right now is very important. You have to focus on this and participate as much as you can, because there are incentives involved in this for you. Yes, we are taking this seriously. So anyone out of you who is serious with this, there are very nice incentives for you to avail these opportunities. Ariful Islam challenge: English speaking fluency and writing for IELTS students. Solution: create an online platform where verified high score achievers will be hired. Students can pay hourly for the conversation and other support. Good one. So see these you can notice one thing from all the ideas being posted here. The ones that are focusing on the problems around them, or the problems they are facing themselves, are the most relevant ones and the attractive ones as well. So as I was saying, that focus on the ideas that can solve a problem for yourself or the people around you. Or the other points can also be considered: save money, give convenience. So let's end this task here. But as I said, that this is not the end. You are going to be working on this task in the upcoming sessions, because you are going to be working on your business canvas model as well. So let's have a break at this, and let's move on with our further things. So let's consider the idea of instant coffee. Let me help you, give you an example here. Let's consider the idea of instant coffee. The story of Nestle starts in 1929, when Louis Dapples, chairman of the board of directors of Nestle, received a very special request from Brazil. In order to combat the enormous coffee surplus in the country, it was proposed that Nestle creates a coffee product that was quick to make and also reduce the amount of unnecessary waste from the coffee bean harvest. So, focus on this thing. There is a challenge question here. The challenge question is, how can we help preserve the surplus coffee beans in Brazil that resulted from the Wall Street crash? Now, what can be the preliminary idea here? Well, the preliminary idea that they came up with was, the initial idea was to manufacture a cube shaped coffee tablet, one that simply needed hot water adding for an instant brew. Although this was a very initial stage idea, and it didn't prove to be a viable option because of the iconic flavor that was not being retained, but this idea did prove that a problem can be solved. So Nescafe brand was later on born when the idea of creating a powder rather than a cube was discovered, and the flavor was best retained when carbohydrates were added to the product. So that's how they evolved. That's how uh, they moved to develop their viable options and come up with new ideas. So there was a challenge question. The challenge question was, how can we help preserve the surplus coffee beans in Brazil? And the answer came in stages. So again, as I mentioned earlier, that don't fall in love with your business idea. You can have more than one business ideas for one challenge question, and then test your idea that which one is going to be the best for your business case development. So now we are going to discuss the business idea to business canvas model. Uh, can you change the slide, Firoz, if you're still there? Yeah, we have done this. Next slide. So, business idea to business canvas model. Let's begin at the beginning. See, even if you have a great idea, success is far from assured. Yes, that's because that every great idea that shapes our world, there are thousands of seemingly flopped ideas. Yeah, in order to succeed, a great business idea needs a great business model, and they're not the same thing. Once your idea, I would like to, yeah, quote this thing here, that once your idea meets the world, it will meet the customers. Yeah, so that's the point where you're going to get the benefits from. It's where the point your idea meets the world, and it's where you are going to meet the customers. If they don't care about the problem your idea solves for them, it's game over. So you should be focusing on solving a problem. That's the key point. But even if customers love your value proposition, you can still fail if your business model is not scalable and financially sustainable. So it's very important to have to convert your business idea into a business model. What you will need is to find reliable channels to reach and acquire your customers. You'll need to build an infrastructure that won't collapse as your business begins to grow. And failing to do just one of these things can mean death to your business. Your business can fail right at the spot if you fail to fulfill any of these things. However, a great idea is that you work with your first work and you search for the right business model to map this world of challenges so that it can be tamed and organized, allowing you to explore it, manage it, and plan for it. So, what if there was a tool that could help with this challenge? And well, most of you are aware of that. It's called Business Model Canvas. Firoz, let's move on to the next slide. So, what is a business model canvas? Yes. So, you have your business ideas, and I can see here there are a lot of good business ideas, and we will need 16 business ideas to convert into business models. And there are going to be a lot of incentives for these business models. So, buckle up, and you are going to be doing some hard work here. All you need to do is to put in some hard work. So, the starting point is that a business model development is to have a shared understanding of what a business model is. So, first of all, we are going to question is what is a business model? Well, Alex Osterwalder and Ives Pineur, authors of the best selling book, The Business Model Generation. This idea was developed from business model generation. They defined a business model as the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. So let me repeat this for you. A business model is the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. Alex and Ives believes a business model can best be described through 9 basic building blocks. Yes, you are going to use these 9 building blocks to make your idea a reality. You are going to test your business idea using this business model. The logic of how a company intends to win customers and make money. So that's why they invented the business model canvas. So let's start with understanding the 9 building blocks. Firoz, to the next slide. So these are the 9 building blocks that you are very much aware of. You got some understanding in your previous sessions about these 9 building blocks, but now we are going to cover them from a practical perspective. So let's see. The business model experts recommend that we start with customer segments. When you are focusing on your business canvas model, always start from the customer segments. That is going to be your initial point. Why? Because business models experts recommend that that's the most important thing that is going to be overlooking all of your rest of the business model canvas. So, customer segments. What do you mean by customer segments? Yeah, anyone? What do you mean by customer segments? You have your business ideas with you. All those participants who have pointed out their business ideas, what are your customer segments? The next thing is type in your customer segments. What do you think are your customer segments? Then I'll elaborate. Which people are you going to target? Children, women, teens, etc. Okay, Furkan says he'll be focusing on children, women, and teens. Okay, Saida Asif says demographics of customers, right? Others, there are a lot of good business ideas on the screen. So come up with the customer segments. Huma Akbar says female. Okay. Lubna says gender, age, and class. Muhammad Nazmul says customer from different zone or different backgrounds. Healthy adult depends on location. All age group based on characteristics or behavior. So why I asked you to type in your customer segments is because I wanted to see what are the glitches that you're having in identifying your customer segments. So let me explain the customer segments here now. Well, we'll identify and lift the customer segments typically because they range between 5 and 7 segments. Most of the times when you are writing down this portion, this block of your business canvas model, you come up with at least 5 or 7 segments. However, I would suggest that for this project, as a starting point, pick up just one customer segment that we'll use for the business model canvas project. And then later on you can work on it to develop further customer segments. So to best satisfy customers, it is best to group them into distinct segments based on common needs, problems, or behaviors. Yes, so customer segments should be a distinct segment that is consisting of common needs, problems, or behaviors. So, successful entrepreneurs and innovators make conscious decisions about which customer segments to serve and which segments to ignore. Remember one thing, not all customers are good customers, and we all know that. So, customer segments, we can say, typically fall into three categories: mass market. This is where we focus on one large group with all these similar needs. So your preliminary idea can be targeted for a customer segment such as mass market. Then there are the niche markets. Sometimes it's better to cater to the needs of a specific group with very specific needs. So that's the second category. The first one was mass market. The second category is niche markets. And the third category are the segmented markets. This falls somewhere in between mass and niche markets. This is where we distinguish between groups with slightly different needs. The mass market has customers of same needs. The niche markets has customers of specific needs for a specific group, while the segmented markets have different groups with slightly different needs. So these are the three customer segments that you can use as a category for categorizing your customer segments. Okay, I know it's very tempting to decide, let's try to reach and serve all of these customer segments. Yeah, we often do that. Whenever we have a business idea, we say, wow, it's a great idea. And the first mistake that we make is we try to reach and serve all these customer segments. They all need help with the problems. However, as we have learned, it's best to start by choosing just one customer segment. And if we are successful, only then will we consider expanding the business model and reach out to other customer segments. So do work on this, that what is your customer segment going to be. Okay, anyone has any question about customer segments? Can post in the question box. Okay, Saida Asif is asking how to incorporate this in BMC long-term plan for customers. Okay, it's quite easy. What you are going to do is focus on the three categories. First of all, you are going to see if you're planning at the moment, at the very beginning, if you're planning for a mass market, or you're planning for a specific niche, or you can be going for a different needs market. So once you have identified which category you belong, then you can further work on segregating it and further differentiating into subcategories. I hope I have answered your question, Said Asif. Okay, Muhammad Nazmul says, why should we choose only one segment? Is it really wrong to decide to go for more than one segment? No, it's not wrong. The business experts say that at the very this business model canvas is your first step. You are going to be developing it further in detail. So as a first step, what you should be doing is focusing on one customer segment, so that it makes it easier for you to focus on their needs. Otherwise you will be jumbling it up, and you will not be able to meet all the needs of all the customers. Further into the development, yes, you can move on to more detailed customer segments. Okay, so Saida Asif is asking that if I initially want to launch my products to just females and then later for males too, yes, that definitely. Then initially, your first business model plan should identify that the customer segment is going to be females, and then later on, you can expand your business model for males as well. So, and there are going to be several forms of your business model canvas. Your first form is going to be targeting only the females. Your second business plan can focus on the males as well. The first one is going to be focusing only on the females. Got that, Said Asif? Okay, so let's consider a few examples here. As you can see in the slide, we have taken the example of Nescafe. And considering this example, if we see what is the customer segment, it has selected mass market at the beginning. Obviously, Nescafe has evolved its business plan, but its initial plan that I was mentioning about covering the challenge, the customer segment chosen was mass market. So the initial business plan chose one customer segment, and that was mass market. Later on, they developed on it and promoted it for further customer segments. Okay, so let's move on to the block number two, that's value proposition. Now, what's value proposition? You want to solve customer problems and satisfy problems. Uh, Feroz, can you move on to the next slide? Building blocks. Feroz, next slide, please. Yeah, this one. The building blocks, the previous slide. Yes, this one. So, value proposition. Most of the times, the problem you are facing in developing your business plan is actually your value proposition. It has to be strong. It's best to complete this building block after you have identified your customer segments. So once you have identified your customer segment, it's relatively easier for you to develop the value proposition. We'll need to determine what value can we create to deliver that will be most important to the customer segment that we chose. So see, it's related. Value propositions typically fall into three categories. The first one we can say is quantitative, creating new value by improving speed of service or adding new features or improvements, for example. These value propositions are sometimes called getting the job done or price competitiveness. So choose something from these. These value propositions, as I said, can be related to getting the job done or price competitiveness. If we take an example, perhaps Walmart is a good example of this. The value proposition of Walmart is mainly to be based on providing low price product to the customers every day. So the value proposition here can be observed that it's focusing on price competitiveness. So the next category is called qualitative value proposition, creating projects and services that improve customer experience via new designs or by improved emotional interfaces. These value propositions are called performance or customization or status enhancement. They actually help one improve their personal brand. The last category is called game changing. This is where you create products and services that truly disrupt an industry. And yes, there is a huge trend of such type of value propositions. For example, think Uber. So considering the example of Uber, yes, it's an idea that truly disrupted the industry. So that's how you will be categorizing your value proposition. So make a statement of your value proposition. Whenever you are making a statement of your value proposition, it should be covering three elements: the promise of what you will deliver to your customer, the benefits that your customers will reap, why they should choose you over your competition. So focus on these three questions. Again, I'm repeating them for you. You can note them down. The promise of what you'll deliver to your customers. Your value proposition should have this. The benefits that your customers will reap. And the third is why they should choose you over your competitor. So if your value proposition has answers for these three questions, then it's a strong value proposition. Otherwise, you'll have to refine it. So, for your ease and further understanding, I'd like to give you an example of Shopify. We all are aware of that. Shopify's customer value proposition essentially says that it can do everything you need it to, all on a single platform. This speaks to some of the fundamental needs and concerns of someone who's starting a new business. Well, for me, it can get real overwhelming and really fast. So, what does Shopify do? Shopify soothes that anxiety as well. Its company website says that the platform supports customers from first sale to full scale and features everything you could need to start, sell, market, and manage your business. And to back it all up, those four items have their own page in the website main navigation, allowing users to directly explore how Shopify can help with each of those facets of starting, running, and growing a business. So now the anxiety goes away. So that's how Shopify has embedded all of these 3 points in its value proposition. And that's what you are going to be doing. And that's what we all will be requiring from you. You should have a strong value proposition to support your business idea, to support your customer segments. So the next third block we can see here is channels. So we'll need to determine how we will communicate and deliver the value propositions to the customer segments. It's a very important area because channels are the touch points that play a critical role in customer satisfaction and customer retention. Channels are typically broken down into types and phases. For example, channel types are your sales force, web sales, stores, wholesalers. So these are all your phases or types of channels. So let me ask you, what type of channels would you prefer for your business idea? Okay, I have a question here from Muhammad Nazmul. Value proposition is related to customer problem solving, yes, which is quite difficult to determine. Okay, you are saying that determining the customer problem is quite difficult. Well, don't you think if it's difficult to identify what is the problem being faced by the customer and how are you going to solve it, then it means that your business idea is not going to be successful. And if you're not dealing with it at the very beginning, then it means that your whole idea is going to require a capital that is going to be wasted, going to be spent on things that are uncertain, and you're not even sure if you are going to be able to retain those customers because you are not sure with your idea yet. And how are you going to pitch it to the customer, to the investors? How are you going to make them believe that your idea is going to be successful, because your idea is not actually solving any problem? If you knew how to solve the problem of your customer, then that would have been your value proposition at the very beginning. Okay, so let's see, what channels do you recommend? Application, social media accounts, website, right? Physical store, yes. And one thing, I would be connecting these channels in the further blocks. You will see that these channels are going to form the cost structures. These channels are going to form an important part in the customer relationships as well. So these blocks are interrelated, so don't forget. Web sales, okay, through mobile apps and physical integration. Okay, let's consider these examples given by a few participants here. Physical store, application, social media accounts, mobile apps, physical interaction, e-commerce outlets. And let's connect it to the customer relationships. So let's keep in mind the customers. What do you think? If you communicate, if you deliver your services, your products through these channels, what type of customer relationship are you forming? For example, if you're using web sales, what type of customer relationship will you have using this channel? Focus on the relationship. E-customer. So, what type of relationship do we have there? Virtual. Okay. Through mobile apps and physical interaction, outlets. Someone mentioned outlets. You can use that too. Business to customer. Good one. Okay, let me give you a brief summary about the customer relationships as well. Well, these are the critical points. Why? As I mentioned earlier, how can we best build authentic relationship with customers and strategic partners that lead to deep trust and deep loyalty? The focus should be on this. Customer relationships are very closely tied to the channels. Every business needs to decide that what kind of relationship will be required in order to make the business model work. So, at the very beginning, you should be able to identify that what is the business relationship, what is the customer relationship that you are aiming for. That's going to help your business model work. And do not forget that your channel is going to be used for developing that customer relationship. So, customer relationships can range from highly personal to highly automated. For example, someone said virtual. Yes. And there are few more ideas. Deals and promotions through the RAS. Yeah, but I'm talking about customer relationship. The trust in the communication and services offered. Yes. And if you want to build a trust in the communication and services offered, so what is the channel you are going to be using? If we focus on this customer relationship, the trust in the communication and services offered, what is the channel you are going to be using then? Personal emails, third party logistics, different social media platforms. But do you think third party logistics and different social media platforms can build trust in the communication and services offered? Direct interaction, yes. Direct contact, direct meetings. Yes. So, see, now there's a problem for you. You might not be interested in that. You might have assumed that the way you are going to be distributing your product or service is going to be virtual, is going to be through other people, through third party distributors. But the main point of your communication was to build a customer focused relationship, and that's not possible through that. So that's why it's important to know your customer segments, and to know your customer relationships, so that you can know that how you are going to use your channels for that specific customer relationship. Customer loyalty programs, request for feedback through apps, text, yes, now that can work. See, now once you have identified the problems, you are coming up with solutions. Your mind is working now, you're giving me solutions. Customer services include direct interaction plus happy calls type interactions, yes. Let people taste and give them promotions like in exhibitions, yes. The other day my friend shared his technique story, a mobile seller offering free after sale replacement of accessories. Yes, having feedback on the spot. So, see, you have ideas now, only based on the customer relationship. Free gifts on birthdays, etc. Yes. So, now you had the type of customer relationship in your mind, and now you're coming up with ideas to develop that customer relationship. So now you are getting the point that how important it is to identify what sort of customer relationship do you want. So let's come up with the example of Nescafe. So let's see, the customer segment they were targeting was mass market. The value proposition was Nescafe instant coffee, and the customer relationship they were aiming for is arm's length retail. In case of Nescafe, the arm's length retail is a label sometimes given to normal commercial relationships between buyer and supplier who either are independent or act independently. The term usually implies that there is limited goal congruence. There are few mechanisms to promote joint working or collaboration, and that interactions are primarily focused on the exchange. So, yes, retail arm's length can be used as a customer relationship by any of you. Okay. Coab is asking why Nescafe. Well, we are using Nescafe as an example because Nescafe is considered as a market disruptor. Their idea disrupted the whole market, so that's why we are using Nescafe. Okay. So the next building block that we are going to be looking at is revenue streams. Revenue streams, this is what's meant by capturing the value that we create and deliver. How do we make a reasonable amount of money for our efforts? Definitely, our key focus most of the times is on revenue streams, because revenue streams are not just important for us, because they are also important for the investors. That's how we are going to get the money in for our project. So revenue stream is another very important area that you should be focusing on. At the basic level, the revenue streams building block attempts to answer the question, for what value or price will the customer segment be willing to pay? Those common techniques to determine your pricing strategy is fixed list pricing or discount pricing. That's where you typically start high. So perhaps offer significant discounts to attract early customers, volume dependent pricing, and market dependent pricing. So these can be your initial ideas for revenue streams. So revenue streams, again, you can see, are very much linked to the customer segments and your customer relationships. So now we can move on to the block number 6, that is the key resources. This building block focuses on the assets we will need to deliver the value propositions. So key resources typically fall into 4 categories. When deciding on the key resources, you should be focusing on 4 categories, that are physical, human, intellectual, and financial resources. Think in these 4 terms. The main types of key resources include physical resources, that we can say include physical assets like machinery, plants, warehouses, vehicles, or point of sale systems. The next category can be human and intellectual. Well, we know that every business today requires human resource, and they're most critical in our knowledge intensive marketplace. So intellectual resources often include your branding, proprietary knowledge, which is also sometimes called intellectual capital. Other examples of intellectual resources can be patents, and of course, your customer database, which is very important. And last but certainly not the least, financial resources. You often make a mistake by focusing only on the financial resources. So don't focus only on the financial resources. Do consider the other elements of the resources as well. The majority of business models require significant financial resources. We do understand that, and that can form a combination of sources, including cash, lines of credit from a bank, and from many new businesses, the financial resources typically come from your own assets and sometimes with the help of family and friends. So these are all your financial resources. Uh, so the next building block that we should be looking towards is key activities. These are the most important actions that company takes to operate successfully. Activities typically include operations, production, sales and marketing, and finance administration. Consider all these activities while working on your business plan. So, these are the key activities actually that are needed to create and deliver the value proposition, as well as to develop and maintain the desired customer relationship. Again, the key activities are focusing on value proposition and as well as on customer relationships. You are considering these 2 points to figure out your key activities. So you can see all these building blocks are related with each other, but we are just giving a certain points to each of them so that you can start with first and then move on to the next. So this will give you a formal structure to work with. So what we have gone through till now is key activities, and now we are moving to key partnerships. So let's talk about key partnerships. What are the key partnerships? So considering key partnerships, this building block is very important. Partnerships in many ways have become the cornerstone of most business models, and we know that. Partnerships typically include strategic alliances between non competitive joint ventures, or most recently, you would have observed the example of co creation of value with your customers. And last but not certainly the least, the cost structure should be discussed here after key partnership. Yes, the cost structure. The cost structure describes the major costs that will be incurred as we create and deliver the business model. So, focus here that all of the 8 key blocks are now kept in mind to work on the cost structure. So, in this format, you will see that with each upcoming block, you will observe one thing, that it's related to the previous block. For example, you started with customer segments, your value proposition was the next block, and your value proposition is dependent on the customer segment. Because in value proposition, you are trying to fulfill the needs or trying to solve the problems of the customer segments mentioned above. So the third key block is channels. The channels considers what channels you are going to use to fulfill your value propositions and to deliver the products and services to your customer segment. So see, it works channels for value proposition and customer segment. So now you move on to customer relationships. The customer relationships, again, the customer relationships will consider the customer relationships you are building using channels, your value proposition, and customer segments. Then comes the revenue stream. For identifying the categories of your revenue stream, you will be focusing what type of customer relationships you are seeking to build, what are the channels you are using, what is your value proposition, and how does it propose to solve the problems of the customer segments. Then you are going to decide on your revenue stream. Then the key resources, considering all of the above 5 blocks, you are going to select your key resources that can be financial, as I said, human, intellectual, physical, and then key activities. The key activities will consider all of the 6 blocks mentioned above: customer segments, value propositions, channels, customer relationships, revenue streams, and key resources. Considering all these 6 blocks, you are going to create a set of key activities. And then comes the key partnerships. The key partnerships is going to consider your key activities and your channels and your customer relationships. How you are going to achieve all of those 7 blocks will determine your key partnerships. And then comes at the end the cost structure. Now, the cost structure will focus on all of the above 8 components. In achieving those 8 components, what are the costs that you are going to be incurring? So, at the basic level, the cost structure describes the major costs that will be incurred as we create and deliver the business model. We can say that the cost categories are typically cost driven or value driven, and is quite often the case that you can use a combination of both. Cost driven business models focus on minimizing costs whenever possible. This approach aims at creating and maintaining the leanest possible cost structure using low price value propositions. Again, this cost driven business model approach is only possible if you are using a low price value proposition. So, again, it's connected to your value proposition. Well, again, a good example of this strategy can be Walmart. Now, the second type of cost structure can be the value driven business models. The value driven business models are used by companies who are less concerned with the cost implications and instead focus on value creation. So, this is how you come up with a basic cost structure. So, what we have discussed till here is a brief introduction of a business canvas model that you can work on. These are the basics for you to start working on your own business canvas model. So, any questions till here? You're welcome, Saida Asif. Cost structure. Yes, sure, Ariful. We can explain it once again. The cost structure, as I said, I'm going to summarize once again that it will consider all of the above key blocks, your partnership, your activities, all of the above things that you have mentioned. But you're going to first of all observe your value proposition. What was your value proposition? Was your value proposition focusing on value creation, or was your value proposition focusing on minimizing costs? So, if your value proposition is low price, you can go with the cost driven business model. Or if your focus is to create value, then you should be going for value driven business model. So once you have identified the basic business model, it will help you to further categorize your cost structure. Aslam Muhammad says, what is the preferred model, cost or value? Well, as I said, it depends on your value proposition. So with different value propositions, you are going to have different cost structures. Your cost structure is dependent on your value proposition, and your value proposition is basically your preliminary business idea, how you are going to solve the problems of your customers. So we cannot say which one is better. It depends on your value proposition. So you never start with your cost structure, you start with your value proposition. And then you see what is going to be the best cost structure for your proposed value proposition. Kindly explain key partnership again. Yes, sure. So key partnership, as I said, what do we mean by key partnerships? In many ways, I said that they have become the cornerstone of your business models. Consider your joint ventures or co-creation of value with your customers as your key partners. These are your strategic alliances that are going to help you deliver your all of these above building blocks, that are going to help you in performing the key activities, that are going to help you generate your revenue streams, that are going to help you in channels and your delivering your value proposition to the customer segments. So those are your key partners. For example, in case of Nescafe, we can see retailers. The key partners considered by Nescafe is retailers. You either have to be cost leader or a differentiator to be successful. Yes, as I said, that value proposition uh, is going to resolve a problem. So when you're resolving a problem, it depends what type of problem are you resolving. As I said, Uber, yes, it's a disruptor. So you can come up with an idea that is going to disrupt the market, or you can focus on the point that you are solving a problem for the people, which is save money. So if your idea is focusing on saving money for the people, then you have to be a cost leader. So all of these things are connected. So I hope you have got your answers here. So these were the key points. These are the key 9 building blocks that you are going to be focusing on in your upcoming assignments. And that's why we have given so much detailing here, because we want you to come up with your business canvas models in the upcoming sessions, so that we can choose our 16 ideas from there and then work with them and help them to come up with a good business plan that can be presented to investors, and we will be bringing more opportunities for those people who are selected. Maria says, please explain key activities. Maria, key activities are actually the activities you are going to perform to create and deliver your value proposition. For example, in case of, we can again consider the Nescafe. So you can see the key activities are production and marketing. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So what are the common mistakes that you can make in your business canvas model? And in the previous sessions, unmoderated sessions, I also observed a few of these mistakes. So most of the researchers have pointed out that you need to focus on these things. Well, selecting too many customer segments. As I mentioned earlier, that you can work with many different customer segments, but always start with one customer segment, because selecting too many customer segments can prove to be difficult to handle for your value proposition. Once you have come up with a value proposition for your specific customer segment, then you can move on to expand your business model. Now, the second mistake that can be made is value proposition is not innovative or disruptive. As I said, do come up with ideas that are going to disrupt the industry, or that are innovative, that are solving a problem. Channels. Now, the third problem, that mistake that you can be coming up with, is channels lack the 5 phases. As we discussed, that the channels should be focusing on how you are going to be delivering uh, your value proposition to the customers. Next common mistake, no clear distinction between revenue streams. We have discussed revenue streams, what type of revenue streams, how they are dependent on your value proposition. So there should be a clear distinction. Resources are not categorized as physical, financial, intellectual, and human. Yes, there are different categories as we have discussed above, and you need to categorize your resources while coming up with the business plan. Now, the sixth point is cost models are not well thought out. Yes, as I said, your cost model has to be linked with your value proposition. So, do consider if your value proposition is value creation or cost minimization. After considering this, focus on your cost model. So, these common mistakes should be avoided to help you build a successful business model. So, the next thing is, let's move on to the next slide and summarize this a little. Then we'll have a task for us to do. So, what we are going to do is, you are going to select the idea. This is your prototype solution that addresses the challenge. And then you are going to build the model. The business model canvas is an excellent tool for validating the new ideas. So, do consider this here. Okay, this point is essential for working on your idea. Consider this as your first step towards developing a business. So, build the model, and the third step is tell the story. We are going to be working on these three steps. You are going to be selecting an idea and then building the model for the next session, and then you will be selected to present your story in front of a few people that we are going to be selecting, including Sajid. So, what you are going to be doing is, for the idea selection, as I have mentioned today, I'm going to summarize it once again. You are going to identify the challenge. The challenge is going to help you identify your preliminary idea. So, for confidentiality, you may want to use a practice idea. If someone thinks that your idea can be stolen by the participants, use a practice idea. And then for our further assignments, you can use your original idea. Because if you are going to be using your original idea, we are going to be helping you with it, and the participants who are selected for this will be helped throughout their business idea. So, build the model. Now the third stage is determine the 9 building blocks. So build the model, you are going to be using the 9 building blocks, and then you're going to tell the story. And the story has to be formed by presenting why, how, and what that you have already discussed with Sajid. And we will be discussing this, how to present your story, in the upcoming session as well. So this is the summary of our today's session. Now I'm going to be giving you one more task. So who's up for the task? We still have time for the task, so we will be using that time. Yeah, make sure you are attentive and you are participating, because as we have discussed earlier, that your participation is going to ensure your success. And don't take these sessions lightly. These sessions actually hold the magic for your success. You can develop a whole new business for yourself, and you will be supported by our team if you are serious in these sessions and actually putting in your best efforts. Yes, Zahida Asif, if you are selected, and definitely I see that people who are putting in a lot of effort will be selected, and then you will be presenting your story. We need 16 business plans from all of you. So let's start working on it and let's make it successful. We are here to support you, and we will ensure that you work on your ideas, and we help you and give you all that support you need to come up with a successful business idea. So it's all in your hands now. Can we know the tentative investment, Aslam Muhammad? Again, as I said, that focusing on the financial element of the key resources should be put on the last. So let's discuss it in the later sessions. I am sure we'll have a lot of investors with a lot of investment. So let's see how well you come up with your idea and how do you work on your business plan. Focus on that first of all. So the next task for you right now is, once that you have identified your idea, as I have noticed that there were several good ideas here. So for your idea right now, what I need from you is, for each building block, you are going to write one statement only. I require only one statement from you for each building block, just to get an idea. So what you are going to do is, right now, fill the building blocks with one statement only, just the way I have done it for Nescafe. So, if we can move to the previous slide, Feroz, can we move to the previous slide? Uh, the one before
Is this
this?
the slide?
No, the previous one, the Nescafe example one. Yes, this one. So, focus on this. I just need you to point out one thing for each block for your business idea. Yes, right now, Saida Asif. You are going to need to point out one thing, focusing on one perspective only. And if you have any problem, you can ask me. So I'm giving you, we have some time right now, so I can give you, I guess, 5 to 6 minutes for that. You just need 1 point for each box. The requirement is, Yusra, that you need to fill this business model canvas for your idea with one sentence or with one perspective only. The same way I have done it for Nescafe, you can do it for your own idea. The ideas that you pointed out at the beginning, use them and fill this out. Is not properly with the headings are okay. You can see the headings here in the 9 blocks. These are the 9 blocks that you are going to fill, and you can fill it in this way. Start with the customer segments. 1, customer segment, write your customer segment. 2, value proposition, write your value proposition. 3, channel, write a channel. So you don't have to fill in like this model presented here that is not visible. You can choose to write in bullet points. Shakil, can you unmute yourself? Firoz, can we unmute Shakil and let him ask his question, or what does he want to know? Shakil, can you let me know what you want to know about this?
Shakil, can you raise your hand so I can find you? I've unmuted Shakil. He's on self mute now.
Shakil, you can unmute yourself. It's sometimes really great to hear you guys, so don't shy. And we are going to be having a lot of such opportunities. And I would really like you to participate and speak up. Okay, so we have our first answer here, Hussein Hadi. Customer segment, office going. Great. Male staff male office going male staff, right? Very specific. Nice. Value proposition, timely delivery. Okay, again, I told you that your value proposition should focus on 3 points. Let me point those 3 points again for you. So the value proposition, I said, should consist of 3 points. And what were they? The first point was the promise of what you'll deliver to your customer. So you're saying timely delivery. Okay. The benefits that your customers will reap, well, this doesn't show that. Why they would choose you over your competition, this doesn't show that as well. So for all the others doing the assignment, do focus that your value proposition should have the answers through to 3 questions. Now these 3 questions are the promise of what you'll deliver to your customer, Second, the benefits that your customers will reap. And third, why they should choose you over your competition. So then do answer that in your value proposition. Delivery channel, physical store, okay. Customer relations, regular meeting, okay. Customer relations matches with the delivery channel, good. Interaction and timely, right. Revenue streams, revenue stream. You didn't, Hussein, you didn't mention revenue stream. Revenue stream is self investment. No, that's not revenue stream. See, this assignment is also going to help me know where you are perceiving something wrong. So the revenue stream, let me again tell you, the revenue stream, you can see it's written here, revenue result when the value propositions are created and delivered to customer. So revenue stream, I told you, must be focusing on how you are going to capture the value actually based on reasonable amount of money for our efforts. What are those? So what value or price will the customer segment be willing to pay? Focus on this. All right, that what value or price will the customer segment be willing to pay, and this can be fixed listing pricing, discount pricing, or you can start with a high price. So it's up to you. And then the key activities, key partnership, and cost structure is also missing, Hussein. Okay, the next answer is Junaid. Food business, okay. Key partner restaurants, food business, key partners restaurants. Key Okay, now I will be asking you to present your assignment, okay, so that we can talk about it. So first of all, we have here Hussein. Hussein, be ready to talk and raise your hand, Hussein, so that Feroz can unmute you. Feroz, can you unmute Hussein Hadi?
Hussein, please raise your hand.
Hussein, raise your hand.
Yes, he's on self mute.
Hussein, you can now unmute yourself.
Do I'm audible now?
Yes, yes, you are.
Sorry, was I was unable to see the remaining options on that slide. Can you please place that slide again?
Okay. Uh, how about you give us a brief summary of what you have written in your answer?
Yeah, I was thinking to relaunch my family business again,
Hmm.
which is based on fashion designing.
Right.
So it was that idea which I was thinking, and I was trying to put the dots together.
Hmm.
So I tried my to point it out, like customer segment was office going, like all the business uh, community or the office going staff, so
Right.
that they able to have a good shooting arrangements and
Hmm.
nice dress codes and all that.
Right.
And
So let's
it's
discuss your value
family business.
proposition.
So yeah,
So
value
what do you
was
have to say
in
about
that
that?
point of, that's the old brand which has been closed for more than 7 years or 8 years, and I want to relaunch it with
Hmm.
a brand image of 40 years of past history.
Right.
So
So what is the
it was that
promise
thing.
that you'll deliver to your customers? What do you promise them? What need do you fulfill for them?
The quality thing, which used to be the one of the main thing which we used to do in last 40 years, the quality
Right.
was never being compromised, and it was used to be said by the customers, not by ourselves, that the quality is amazing and we can't get that product from anywhere else. So
Right.
the quality would be
So,
the
right. The
thing which
quality is the
comes under
benefit
the
you're
word.
going to give to your customer.
Yeah.
Okay, and why they should choose you over your competition? You think there is no other brand that much old as compared to you?
Customer satisfaction and the quality which they think that it could not be comparable. Like it could be easily mean to be say that it's a tailor-made product for themselves and it's better than going for a ready-made. So that
Mm-hmm.
could be an option.
So we can say proven customer satisfaction and quality.
Yeah, we can mark that.
Nice. Okay, fine. That's nice. Okay, so the next point,
And
okay, you are going to work on the other things and revenue streams. What are the revenue
yeah,
streams
revenue.
that you are considering?
For that purpose, I was a little confused. You have already highlighted uh, again, which I
Mm-hmm.
think that it should be under the that we are coming again, like coming going to be a going concern again, and that this would be a thing which I was thinking that coming back to the
Mm-hmm.
line to serve
Yeah.
again to the community at large.
Yes. So is it going to be market dependent pricing or volume dependent pricing now?
No market base.
Market based.
Because,
So
yeah,
as a
because
starting point,
we
you
yeah,
can write market dependent pricing,
okay,
and then you can go on to further elaborate this point. But as a starter, you can
okay,
start from market dependent pricing.
okay. Market trends.
Yes.
Okay. Key resource would
Now,
be the labor area, which used to be the main delivering factor. Like they will deliver and we will support the initial thing and they will convert the raw material into a finished good.
yeah, but you're again making the same mistake I pointed above, that your resources have to be categorized from physical, human, intellectual, and financial point of views.
Yes,
Categorize
ma'am.
them.
That
So,
physical is
physical,
a physical would be a store like
nice,
machineries and that machinery and store
right.
infrastructure which is already in
Yeah, because
and
these are going to have
in
cost implications.
yes, physical infrastructure are there. Uh,
Right,
Human resource would be will need to be sorted out again
right.
because it was discontinued and now need to be continued again. So it's going to be a point of concern. But and the resources in terms of monetary value, which need
Uh,
to be identified.
Intellectual, patents or
Intellectual
brands or
will
something
be,
like that.
I think it not required another marketing time because people knows it by name and
Mm-hmm,
after it's shut down people are approaching us and
mm-hmm.
trying to request that kindly open that business again so that we can get the same facility from the
So your brand name is going to
yours.
be your key resource. We can say that.
Yes, yeah,
Okay, financial resources.
that could be again evaluated in terms of how much it needed more and what to be done again to give a start. uh, Things have already been known and mistakes have already been identified. So
Mm-hmm,
resources need to be evaluated again in terms of do not put all the eggs in one basket and wait for the
exactly. Yeah, but you will
market
need,
to.
for the purpose of coming up with the business plan, you will need to specify your resources, financial resources. What type of financial resources are you going to need?
Ma'am, a minimum I have identified it, but I think it should be it could be changed with the passage of when you come into the. I have identified the minimum thing, and it
Okay,
could
you can
be
point it out.
increased. It could be within 5 lakh rupees, and it could be just a start for a time being, and it could be increased within a 6 month evaluation base of period that either need more resources to be put out or not.
Yeah, and what is going to be the source? You have to mention the source. Where do you plan to get that fund?
Self investment, self investment.
Self-investment, right. So when you're coming up with the financial resources point, you have to write down the source of the funding as well, what you're planning for the source to be.
Okay.
So good, Hussein. So key partnerships.
Key partnership would be again with the stakeholders which provide us services and our backup plans, backup resources. Like if we're not able to meet our order on time, we could approach them, the similar trend providers or the similar skills provider people, so
Hmm.
that we can start with a backup plan in our mind that if we can't meet this target within a timeline, we should approach them and they will satisfy and provide the timely
Right.
response to us.
And what would you propose the cost structure?
Ma'am, that I could miss when you were explaining it. Can you please describe again or
Okay, thank you. Okay, Hussein, thank you very much. And it was a
you're most
nice
welcome.
summary.
Thank you.
So who else we have here? We have Junaid Iqbal. Okay, Junaid Iqbal, are you still with? Okay, we have another female, so I would like to go with the female first. And because we have already done with one male, so another female. Huma Akbar. Huma Akbar, if you are still with us, raise your hand. You should be still with us. These programs have huge incentives for you all, so make sure you attend the whole session and remain participative. Huma
I
Akbar, please raise your hand. Yeah, Huma is with
yeah,
us. So, Huma, do present your business idea, business
uh,
canvas model.
it was about brain mental health issues because it's a burning issue right now. So
Hmm.
I'm considering an online app for that purpose, and I have written this business model keeping that thing in my mind. So it will serve mostly female segment because in our society, females are just conservative and females doesn't feel good to go for, especially in to the psychologists and psychiatrists and
Right.
services and value proposition. So services available at the comfort of home at very cost effective rate and obviously confidentiality channels online medium that will be
Okay,
online app.
let's stop here. I'll talk about value proposition with you once again. So,
Yeah.
what is the promise that you are going to deliver to your customers?
The services will be available at the comfort of home at very cost effective rate.
Okay.
It's the
And
online app. Yeah,
what are the
please.
benefits? What are the benefits that the customers will reap?
They can get services at home at very cost effective rate because I think when there's an online app that doctors should or psychologists or psychiatrists should charge a less because they are getting benefit as they are not paying their rent, electricity bills and other administrative stuff when they are getting patients from
Right.
online source. And now
Right.
telemedicine is also very much in trend abroad, and not in Pakistan, but in abroad, European countries, they are launching telemedicine apps,
Yes.
especially due to the pandemic. So sources obviously online
Hmm.
medium, whatever it will be. Revenue streams,
Right.
most it will be end users,
Uh,
but
n- Again, third question: why they should choose you over your competition? There are a few other apps as well.
yeah, I mentioned that they should choose me because these apps are not that effective. I don't think they are that effective, streamlined and refined process for booking, and people usually don't go for those apps. I know few names of few apps, but they're not
Hmm.
working properly. So I'm planning to do something, I will be doing. Obviously, you will get meeting and appointment at your time, and then you will get an online session at your time. So that will
So, what are the
after
problems? Again, you will notice one thing here, that there are a specific set of problems that you are highlighting with your competition.
yeah,
So,
because
you should
these
have
apps
the answers for those as well. So,
are
what are
yeah
those problems, those
these apps
mistakes
are not
being made?
Yeah, these apps are not arranging online sessions. I don't know, or they are not reviews on their apps. Whether the patients had attended those sessions or they have visited their clinics, but just simple type apps, or they are just giving reviews on doctors, or that these are that kind of apps. So I will make sure that if someone is visiting or someone is having session via my app, so that person will give a review, so that other people can know how was the doctor, or how was the session, or whether it was worthy to have that session. So that will
Right.
obviously build a reputation. And
Hmm.
the revenue streams, it will be mostly end users, but you can because
You have
when,
skipped one thing. After value proposition, you should be dealing with the channels. You
yeah,
said
channels,
online medium,
yeah,
and
online
then
app.
yeah, and then after that you will be focusing on customer relationships.
Yeah, but that I missed that. But my customer relationships, it will be. I don't know. Though I am working in business development side, but I am not that expert in how to make those relationships. Especially now where I am working, we do send emails to build these kind of relationships, and we do have meetings. So obviously, I can do cold calls and market my app. That will be
Right.
customer to be way of building customer relationships. Revenue streams, it will be mostly end users who will be using
Hmm.
that app and paying to the psychologists and psychiatrists, and we can get a few percentage from that. But because it's a burning issue, so we can arrange online sessions for organizations as well, because psychologists
Hmm.
and psychiatrists can help those organizations as well, employees of those organizations. So we
So
can
will
get,
it be market dependent pricing or volume dependent pricing,
when it will be
fixed list pricing? What
when it
category?
comes to individuals, then it will be fixed price depending on the
Hmm.
doctor's psychologist or psychiatrist experience. When it comes to
Right.
organization, then obviously it will be, you can change a bit. Key resources will be physicians and tech resources who will be making those apps, and so all this running behind that app. And key activities will be consulting. Key partnerships obviously would be organizations. If some
Hmm.
organizations want to have those kind of sessions, we can. I think that will be most beneficial, because you can get the handsome amount from them, and it will be just easy to get. And psychologists, those will be our key partners. Cost elements,
Hmm.
software and HR resources. So because you will be paying for the software on which your app will be built, and HR resources, those will be mm, uh, tech resources mostly, and sales resources.
Great work, Huma. Great work. Again, Huma, you just need to work on your key resources. Your key resources have to be categorized in physical, human, intellectual, and financial.
But it's remote, so I think key resources, now we can have remote one resources. We don't need to have tech resources on premises. So I don't need premises. We can hire on offline or remote based resources to build an app, and they can run at their home.
Okay, so you don't need any physical resources, you're saying?
I don't need physical resources. Now sales teams are working from home. I think pandemic has changed a lot of things.
Yes, definitely.
So I can hire all these resources. They can work from their home.
Right. So you will be focusing on human resources. We can say
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
What
human
about
resource.
intellectual resources? You have to consider that as well
Tech
because it's
and
an app.
yeah, tech resources, technical resources. I'm working in IT technology consulting for technology consulting firm, so I know about tech a lot. So that's why I didn't mention it in detail.
Right. Okay, so you
It,
will be bifurcating into these different categories for later on.
yeah,
But it was a great work, Huma. And nice
thank you.
business idea, and you should be working on it because I
Yeah,
think
but
it's a great one. We can build
thank
on it.
thank you.
Thank you, Huma. So right now we had Hussein with a great business idea, and then we had Huma, another great business idea. And we can see that 16 business ideas for 16 business plans is not that difficult right now. You have a lot of potential and you have a lot of opportunities to avail right now. So do keep on coming up with new business ideas. And now we have Furkan Abdul Razak. Yes, there are a few more business ideas, but as our time is up, so I would recommend that do this assignment at home and submit it. And we will be discussing it in the upcoming session. Apart from that, I would also like to mention that, as I said, start working on your business plans, start working on your business canvas models if you want to be selected. This is a very good chance for you, because you are going to be present not only presenting your business ideas to some potential investors, because you also have an opportunity to work with a team of specialists who are going to guide you how to work on your business plans, how to market it, how to get investments, and how to at the end be successful. So avail this opportunity. And that's all from my side for today. It was a great session and I loved being here with you. So let's join in for the next session, and we will be discussing a few more things in the next session. Till then, just keep working on the business canvas model. And again, let me remind you, it's a very good opportunity for you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Tamina. Excellent session. Really enjoyed. Very informative.